Hello and welcome to this special reading that is for the total lunar eclipse that we're having on January 20th and 21st. I do apologize, I've got a bit of a cold that I've had all week, and this is symbolic to me because I really don't get sick. I can't even remember a winter where I've had a really significant cold come forward, and this has been getting more intense every day this week, and also just everything happening in the news. And again, I don't really watch the news that much myself, but it's always on in our house because my husband likes to watch it. And I just don't even know what to say. Our town, we live in a very small town in New Hampshire, and we suffered a tragedy in our town. It doesn't even have to be somebody that you know, but it was a little 2.5-year-old that found herself. She was exploring, I believe. I don't even know the story, but she ended up outside in the middle of the night, and it was sub-zero temperatures here, and she froze to death. So what I really want to keep this message very simple, because I really feel this level of just total vulnerability on a personal level, on a community level, on a world level. It's like something's got to give, and that's how eclipse energy works. You don't even have to be going through something very specific yourself, and I'm not trying to make a big deal of having a cold by any means when I think about that family who lost their little girl. But we all have these tiny sufferings that we go through, and I always see it as an awakening to something that is ready to come forward. And that's the basic message of how I invite you to think about the power of this eclipse. So the eclipse is taking place in terms of, this is all Eastern time. The start of the cycle of the lunar eclipse is on the 20th, on Sunday, at 9:36 p.m., again Eastern time. And then it will go through its whole cycle by later in the evening, January 21st, at 2:48 a.m. And the eclipse itself will be exact at 12:12 Eastern Time a.m. And this is on the 21st, on Monday. So right overnight in Eastern Time. And so that 12:12 to me, that equates to 33 in numerology. And it's just calling us to really get inventive and really think about the creativity we have available in thinking about all of these. What is being given to me here is these tiny sufferings. And some of them are really big sufferings. And then people in government not, finding any middle ground and just continuing to push against each other while people go without food. People are in jeopardy of losing their homes. I mean, there's a lot of people who live paycheck to paycheck. So, I want to keep this simple because this is big energy. And this is happening at the first degree point of Leo, the sign of Leo, which is a very vivacious. Leo is right in the middle of the three fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And in the middle, things are juicy. Anywhere in any element, the middle sign is always pretty juicy and pretty confident in the sign. And Leo is known as one of the most confident energies within the zodiac. And it is ruled by the sun. And here the moon will be. In the land of the sun, the moon will be here. And this is the symbol. Blood rushes to a man's head as his vital energies are mobilized under the spur of ambition. I mean, if that doesn't say what we see going on, there is just so much. All I can say about what I've been experiencing, whether it's me personally with just a stupid cold, or this thing in our community, or what I'm just sort of sitting back and sort of from a distance taking in all this government stuff. And it's the point that I want to make is everybody thinks they friggin' know. Everybody thinks they have the friggin' answer. Even when it comes to your personal health, people are like, I'm going to make you this, or you need to have that, or da-da-da-da-da. And I went through this when I went through cancer treatment, people telling me how I needed to do cancer. And I guess as a messenger, I'm asking you to consider putting your hand up with me and saying, like I did when I was 2 or 3 years old, I would say to my mother, no, she doesn't want to. I'm asking us to think about doing that, of not going along with what the big, collective, very reliable, very old-fashioned, very predictable pathway is. Because guess what? On the other side of this eclipse is the sun going into the sign of Aquarius. That Aquarian energy rules this eclipse because the sun is blotting out the full moon at her fullest in her cycle. Here in the land of the sun, Leo, all of this, man's like, yeah, I know. We all have that. I've got it too. I've got the friggin' answers for everything, right? We all have that stuff. I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm putting myself in the mix too and calling myself on it. But in where the sun will be is at Aquarius 1, an old Adobe mission in California. I just want you to take that in for a minute. Can you picture that? It's a beautiful, like, white building that is built by elders long ago, and there's a sense of peace and purity, and a sense of, I'm sure in their day that that was renegade behavior. That is how Aquarius rolls. That's why I love Aquarius energy. It is one of my 3 favorites in the zodiac. The call for you with this eclipse is to really think about, do you really know? People who don't even know anything about our town or the people in it, and certainly don't know that family of that little girl, they had all the answers. And it's like none of us know. Even the people directly involved don't totally know how everything happened. So just take a breath and ask yourself, do I really know? Because what is being called into question, what is being blotted out and asking us to question, this part of ourself, blood rushes to a man's head as his vital energies are mobilized under the spur of ambition. That we know, that we use our mind to concoct all of these friggin' stories. And I'm sorry, I'm coming across so angry in this message. It wasn't my intent, but I just see it and I'm like, this is the call for this eclipse. Chill out. We don't all know. And in the meantime, people are getting hurt and people are going through their little sufferings, and some of them are big sufferings. People going without food, maybe losing their home, pawning their wedding rings, losing a child. Come on. And even somebody, a stupid little thing like suffering from a winter cold, big whoop-de-doo. But you don't know, and I don't know. Actually, I do have some wisdom on why I'm going through this. It's because of this eclipse. I'm calling all of this junk about the blood rushing to my head. All of that is getting jilted out of my system. I am literally coughing it and blowing it out of my system. I can't sleep at night because I got all this junk coming through. And again, this is stupid to even be talking about it in the face of all these other things. But what I'm trying to do here is to give you some, it doesn't matter whatever scale we're talking about. I want this to feel, I want you to feel your place in it. And that you have your tiny sufferings too. And guess what? I don't know what it's like to go through what you're going through. And it does help us to look at these other aspects on different scales, whether it's in your community or someone you really love, a classmate, whatever, who are going through their own little tiny sufferings. We're all being woken up through this eclipse to say, do you really know? And what about taking the energy? The sun is resetting the energy here and inviting us towards the land of Aquarius. And Aquarius is about being the scientist in the lab. That is the best way I like to describe Aquarius. It is, can you be vulnerable enough to say, I don't know what's going on here, but I can't wait to find out. And I know that wisdom will come. Can't you look back at your life and see the absolute purposefulness of everything that has occurred, and especially the big stuff? Especially those parts of suffering. I'm not a lover of using that word, but those parts of us, that's where it hurts, because it sticks. And we learn something out of it. We become different. We are forced to be the scientists in the lab because we don't have any answers. And that is your freedom out of this eclipse. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to know what happened to that 2.5-year-old in the middle of the night during sub-zero temperatures in her nightgown. You don't have to know. What you have to know is just giving love to those people, because they're suddenly in the lab themselves. They found themselves in the great lab of the universe, and they have to figure out new solutions now. And it's the same on the government level. It's the same for me with a cold. I can't keep pushing in the way that I've been pushing through my work and through chores at home and things. I have to take a break. I have to let my body catch up with me again. So I want to keep these messages very simple. But I do feel this fieriness of calling you forward to look at that Adobe mission in California. California, to me, I've never been there. It seems like a very laid-back land, the land of plenty, the Golden State, land of milk and honey. And it's just like taking a breather and putting your feet up on, you're in a beach chair in California, and you're just taking in a new view and saying, you know what? I can't rely on those old beliefs that I've had forever. When crisis turns up, or when it's either my blood rushing to my head like, whoa, I gotta figure this out, or I see it with somebody else. It's time to take a pause and to go into the lab and say, maybe there's another way to go at this. That's what the sun is supporting you in this eclipse, because it's covering up the moon and it is making us really vulnerable. That's the thing with Aquarians. That is renegade energy. They are the genius of the zodiac, because they put unlike combinations together, and guess what? That's how we evolve as a species. And now we are in the age of Aquarius. And so this is a call into that new energy. You don't have to be all woo-woo with me if you don't want to, but you can certainly see that things are a-changing, and it's nothing like it used to be. at any other time in history. Nothing quite like this. So we have to go into the lab. And what the view that is offered when you go into that lab space and you want to put some new pieces together and test it out, and this is just in terms of your thought and how you approach things, is to really consider an old Adobe mission in California. That is the new thought form that's coming forward. It's not so much about the blood rushing to your head and I gotta figure this out and I gotta have the answer. And there must be an answer. And I know the answer. We don't even know yet. But the more open we can become to inspiration, which is what I feel the Adobe mission signifies, and being renegade in our thinking a little bit, being willing to be vulnerable enough to receive, some different wisdom, some different insights, to really listen to other people and listen to their take on things. And maybe there's a piece of that you can use within the lab setting yourself to come to something new that feels better, more fresh, more satisfying, more comforting, so that when you go through another one of your sufferings, so to speak, that you'll have the tools to get through it, that you will have a knowing for yourself that works. And you won't have to look out at anybody else because nobody can come up with that except for you. Okay, I'm gonna zing through these fairly briefly because I'm worried I might get into a coughing fit. So the first one up is from the Andera crystal deck, and this is Andarian Amethyst. So you've got that beautiful purple energy, crown chakra here. There is high spiritual energy with this, and I do feel that Leo and Aquarius are working together. They are natural partners in the zodiac. So let's see what that partnership message is. Allow my deep amethyst rays to penetrate your third eye center, activating your pineal and pituitary glands, expanding consciousness and revealing universal wisdom and truth. Where there is confusion, I bring clarity. Where there is chaos, I bring calm. I will assist you to see through the eyes of truth, the eyes of the divine. I will lift you up to see life should be a higher perspective, knowing that all is exactly as it should be. That we don't even have to look at our life as these tiny sufferings. We can see the beauty even in the loss of a 2.5-year-old girl, as I was saying in the intro. I do believe that she was a gift to our entire community because we came to a level of awareness in how quick we were to all judge. And I'm sure there are many gifts that she gave to her mother and the people around her, neighbors, anyone who is involved. Their lives are profoundly changed. But they grow into a new part of who they are because there is the loss of that energy, and so something new has been opened, and she has created that opening. And I feel that for you with this card and its crystal energy for you. And it points to, in the description, all about the opposites, which is what the eclipses are about. It's always about the sun or the moon covering up the other. And this is full on. And those of us in the U.S. and South America, Canada, we're supposedly going to be able to see it even. Not sure here because we're going to have a heck of a snowstorm this weekend. So I feel like I want to say really think about the opposite. When you jump to a conclusion, think about the times when the blood rushes to your head and either you've got super passion and you want to push to make something happen, or you've got anger that comes up and it is overflowing and you just want to, I'm taking names and kicking some ass, and in those moments, you have to look to the opposite. You have to look to, maybe there was something else going on here. Maybe that person didn't actually mean that. Could it be that your interpretation might be a little skewed? And in terms of passion, which we often view as a good thing, you know, as moving ahead and being passionate about our life, in terms of that, you know, could it be that the universe could help you out a little bit? And if you just envision yourself already doing whatever that passion is, that the new steps, the new resources, the people will show up. And I can attest to that that is true. That actually does happen when you put yourself in your mind space. This is what Aquarius is so good at. And this is how you can reformat how your sun energy works. That's the beauty of this eclipse, is it's not about the push. And it's not about the overcoming when you're angry and like, I'm going to get my way and I'm going to have my say. It's about this much more pull back and already envision in your head the other possibilities, or envisioning yourself already in doing whatever it is that you want to do when it comes to a passion. Because that is the way to work with this new energy of the sun that is being reset with this eclipse for the Aquarian age. Okay? It's about working with the opposites. The second card is from the Angel Tarot. Oh boy, you have the King of Fire. So talk about Leo energy here. And the Leo energy will be super strong because it's always strong at the very beginning degree points and the end degree points of Leo. And of any sign when a planet is passing through there. So you have King of Fire is motivational, idealistic, ambitious, charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Advice from someone creative. And I'm being directed back again. The culmination, the final cover-up of the moon is at 12:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's 33. And the 3 energy is about creativity. And we are in the year of creativity. And that's what I feel the most from this card, the King of Fire. This is about being a new level of creativity that others could potentially look to as a source of inspiration, because then 12:12 equates to 33, the inspirational teacher or leader. This is about you having a whole different viewpoint that other people stop and go, you know what? That's interesting. You might be right. Have you ever had that happen when you make yourself vulnerable enough to say, you know, I don't actually think that's what he means. I don't quite see it that way. And all of a sudden you see that other person start to soften and their edge comes off and the blood stops rushing to their head. Their face isn't so bright red anymore. Excuse me. So consider that. How could you be a leader in a different way? A whole new viewpoint. Okay, I gotta keep going because I'm gonna start coughing here. So the final card is from the Flower Therapy deck. Stand by your commitment. The pink lily. You're strong enough to keep the promise that you've made. Don't back out now. Your angels believe in you. So what I want to say here as I'm having this, I mean, more and more I get the imagery, and I get it for you too with this. Because the pink energy, especially when it's hot pink like this is the energy of Kuan Yin. And she is like Mother Mary, but with an edge, is the way that I feel her. And there's so many layers of you that are being stripped away. And I also see a vision that I was having early this morning for you too, of a peony flower, because the flower really tells me the softness within you is being revealed with this eclipse. Sorry. And like the peony, it's so gorgeous when it is opening, and then the petals fall away. And I feel really emotional about this. It's so sad to see these parts of you kind of flow away. And I just want you to think about, because sometimes when we want to make when we make a stand, it gives us color, it gives us form and function. And then when we have to just step back and we don't want to take part and we don't really want to have a say, we worry about becoming cardboard, but who's going to know what I think? But what the commitment is that it's not about you making a stand so that other people understand what you're about. Your commitment is that you understand within you, and that's the beauty of the Aquarian energy in this eclipse the sun is bringing in. It is about the Adobe mission in California that is that sun symbol. It is within your own home of you. Do you have that peace? Do you have that sense of calm and harmony? And do you still feel peace and calm and harmony when you do make it clear to other people what you feel? And this is where this vision of the peony flower and all those petals, it's many, many layers over many lifetimes it's dropping away. The more you can become vulnerable and say, okay, I have my times when I flower in the sun, and then other times I just step back and I allow all that to melt away, and I just stand in my vulnerability as I cough my head off and wait for my next time to shine in the sun. And that build-up will be so delicious, and then that unfolding of all those petals. But then there is this part of the cycle where it all drops away. And again, where we don't always know. We don't always have the answer. Okay? So I wanted to keep these short. I apologize for all the coughing, but I'm giving it to you real, because this is all tied in. It's that vulnerability factor. And just remember, we don't always know. And that's just the point of this eclipse. It's about stepping into a more peaceful place. And where is it more beneficial to be right or to find love and connection? Wishing you a peaceful eclipse. Bye-bye for now.